I feel that you are a person that thrives on endings so that you can find unique ways to bring them back. I find that I feel that you are somebody that thrives on that, and that's something different than some people have, which is to go into the complete doldrums of despair. Whereas I feel that probably maybe what your niche and your ability to help people also do is to not go into that sense of despair and find that failures can be actually beginnings. Am I right on that?
You are absolutely correct. And all throughout my life, I've been a very, very optimistic person. I never looked at anything as, oh, why did this happen to me, and who am I to deserve this, and I cannot get out of it. To me, everything was, okay, now we're here, let's see how we can get out. I have the ability, which is something that I've been blessed with, and I am really appreciative to all of my angels and to my higher self before coming here, of letting go. Ability to forgive, forget, let go, move on. And that certainly has been prevalent in my life.
So you are also certified by Doreen Virtue as an angel card reader?
The angelic realm has been, a friendly realm to me for a long time. I really enjoy working within that space. Within that realm of intuitive, psychic, mediumship abilities, angelic realm, all of that is a part of who I am, and I bring that into everything. Ever since I was a child, I noticed that I had abilities. Angel cards were new to me. I ran into Doreen's course. It was Doreen and Radley Valentine were having a course through Hay House, and that's the course that I took. And within the Chicagoland area, there's Infinity Foundation, being Mel Dorr. He's a very talented psychic in Chicagoland area. So I studied with him in the intuition, psychic development, and other courses. I need to develop them, I need to work with them, but I have abilities.
How does somebody that fits in so intensely with the corporate world also be able to see angel card reading as something blends and fits? I mean, I would have to say I've read for politicians. We have to remember that Ronald Reagan's wife was into astrology. From
my perspective, I've tried to walk that fine line between being mainstream and spiritual. And after a little while, and I said, I don't care. We are not one or the other. We are a spiritual being in a physical, material world, and we live in both. And that's something that I've always been comfortable with. One of my missions in life is to make sure that people understand that I can root for the Cubs just as much as I can talk to angels and dead people and bring happiness to the loved ones who are still here. Hopefully our society has been getting more and more open with mediums and psychics and angel card readers and everybody else out there. It's fine, and I think we're finally graduating to that point where those two can merge. And oh, by the way, the people who are worried so much about it, you have a lot of it already. Let's talk about it. Let's open up the windows. It's okay. So I understand it takes a person like you that has seen both sides of the coin to be able to be a representation to mainstream that we are all intuitive and energy is around all of us. What is the most interesting that you have channeled for someone while giving an intuitive reading? In the Infinity Foundation class that I had with Mel Dorr, he had us do intuitive work where he basically took out pieces of paper which he pre-filled before. They were all folded up many times over. He put them in a hat. We had to reach in, take a piece of paper, obviously not unfold it, hold on to it, and write what we see. So I did. I took the piece of paper, and next thing I know, within about a minute afterwards, because my ego was in the way and I had to surrender and go through all the other psychic things that we have to do. So once I started to see, all of a sudden I was in a body of a person that's about to be murdered. And that was very freaky, let's put it that way. I felt blood coming down the side of my face. I saw the perpetrators. I saw the location where it was. It was as if I was inside of that movie. And then, not to be too graphic, but they took a shovel and did something. So I got out of that state finally. I wrote down everything I said. We gave all of our feedback. And then it turns out that I tuned into one of the murder cases that he was working with. And he said that they did find a man. Yeah, they did find a man in a marsh area, which is what I was describing. They knew that he was, unfortunately, he was decapitated. But they knew that he died from a blunt force to the head. They didn't know with what. It was a shovel. So after going through that, I said, okay, there's something here that there is no way for me to deny. All of a sudden, I had an archangel come in. I didn't know who he was. He gave me some very interesting messages. And then I asked, who are you? And I had the name Ezreal. And I've never worked with Ezreal before. Well, the first thing that I remember about Ezreal is he's the archangel of death. But Ezreal came in and he gave messages of support. And it took another medium in the class who I talked to during lunch. And she kind of laughed at me. I said, why are you laughing? She's like, you're a medium. Ezreal came through. Put the two together, buddy. So that was very fun. Because, again, Ezreal helps out with mediumship, apparently, among other things.
Right.
So,
but let me ask you this, though.
Yes.
I'm a firm believer that angels don't need names because they're such high frequency that that they're even beyond names. That's more something we can do because we feel more comfortable naming our dogs, cats, and angels. But my feeling, I've always said my angels are we, us, and I, because we work together as a team.
Yep.
But I do understand there's a lot of people out there that feel it's extremely important to have names, and that if the angel does not have a high political power, then that angel is of not as much validity as perhaps an angel with that power name.
I don't feel that way at all. I think the angels, archangels, we put them in categories. We give them, that's a little bit too human for what they do.
It's human.
And
it's giving them political hierarchy when really we would hope that when we are in the spiritual realm, we can forget about politics.
When we're talking about religion, did God really say all of that? Did he put the rules together, or did we? Same thing with the angelic realm. Angels, don't worry about what you call them. Because I went through that, and I was trying to figure out the names of my angels until finally, guardian angel gave me his name. But the message that I kept hearing over and over again is, it doesn't matter. Call us whatever you like, as long as we keep communicating and working.
As long as the channel is open, and I know so many people that go into such anxiety because they feel that they're waiting for a name or waiting for somebody of power to come through. But I just always try to reassure them that what you need to be aware of is how our angels do speak through us. And I always say there's such a simple way to start it out with, and one is that when your angel is telling you yes, it feels like champagne bubbles. And when your angel is telling you no, it feels like your feet have lead on them and your body gets tired. And that's two very simple ways to listen to angels, although there are many more ways. But it's so much more simple than I believe people imagine it to be.
They communicate with us because they love us, because they want to help us. For us to set up rules and regulations is more really something that takes us away from what we should be doing. And that's the fascinating part. The more we try to put laws and rules and regulations and this is what you have to do and this is the proper technique, there are no proper techniques. For us to set up rules and regulations is more really something that takes us away from what we should be doing. Just talk. Talk, notice. You'll know if it's coming from you or it's coming through you. And that's the easiest part of channeling for me. When I can talk to somebody and I'm doing a channeling reading and I'm talking for half an hour, it doesn't really even sound like my voice, and I continue talking and talking and talking without taking, steps to think about what I'm saying, then you have a direct communication. let it flow. That's it. Just surrender to spirit, let it flow, and don't worry about it.
As a person that started out in the spiritual realm, you know, the story about Jesus and a lot of prophets is how they go through a wandering through the wilderness episode where they begin to feel as if they are being tested by both sides. That as you tune into your spirituality, there's a little episode, a little time there where sometimes your old religious voices will say, where are these messages coming from? Is this the right thing? Is this the wrong thing? Is this, you know, and there begins to be this struggle. But this struggle is as ancient as any prophet has been on this earth, and they have all felt this. I'm wondering, did you never have any doubt about where your answers were coming from? Did you ever go through that struggle I call wandering through the wilderness? Do you have any messages for people that may be struggling with that?
I have gone through the wilderness, and I don't think there is just one moment in our life when we're going through it. We're going through it in many different ways throughout our lifetime, but there is always a choice. My advice to people is that you always know if the information that's coming to you is of the light source or it's of the dark source, let's call it that, because you know that it has nothing to do with your ego, it has nothing to do with your gain, it has nothing to do with you having power over somebody else. It's a very quiet, soft whisper that tries to bring you up and tries to help you and shows you courage and love and support. That is the essence of what they're about. They want to help you. And by they, I'm talking about your angels, your guides, and everybody else. Jesus, you know, Jesus is somebody that I work with as well. You know, they want to help you. They want to inspire you. They want to lift you up. They never, ever want to knock you or somebody else down. That would be your ego, or that would be the negative side.
Going back to in helping others to be able to find their soul purpose, what is an important thing for people to know who are seeking that soul purpose and gone through that wilderness, and they're finding that they're seeing that light at the end of the tunnel? What is the soul purpose then that comes into revelation?
Well, I'll tell you how we work, because everybody is a little different. But what I've seen in my experience in having this practice, and in my experience of recalibrating my own life, it's so interesting, and people don't want to hear it. But it's so interesting. Every book writes about this. There are sayings in every language on this topic. All the answers are within yourself. Don't look to the outside for assistance. All the answers are within you. And when people are coming to my practice, we start talking to them, and I have them look within. And I give them exercises that allow them to look within. And we talk, and we get validations. And then I use a approach that I am comfortable with. And that approach includes not just the actual discussions and the exercises with people, but I go to my angel cards. And I go to the, my numerology. I also, study numerology. I go to my, channeling state, and I try to get a consensus. I try to take as many things out of the equation by apparently adding many things to the equation. But we try to get a consensus of why are you here? And we try to answer that question with the people. And 99% of the time we're working with people, they know it. Whether they admit it to themselves, want to think about it, or are saying that they do not know, and then in the third session they say, okay, you're right, I did know. We all know. We all know. We all come here with this inherent knowledge that's been pre-programmed why we are here. You can look around. All of the people have to realize as well that the outside world is just a reflection of your inner self. If you want to see what you are thinking about, what you are feeling, what your outlook on life is, look outside of yourself. Look at what you're seeing and what you're noticing in the world. If you see hatred, if you have people who are constantly yelling at you, then this is how you're feeling inside. Don't be the victim. Acknowledge it, work through it, and change that. There are
How do people find a way to deal with their own family members or the people around them? How do you deal with your husband or wife or children or whatever that are just so extremely negative? And how do you be a cheerful, happy person and have those kind of people close to you? What is your strategy for that?
It's a lesson learned personally. In order for you to deal with those people, you have to like who you are. Because if you like who you are, and if you're confident in who you are, everything else is just babble. Do you agree with what they're saying? No. Then why does it bother you? And all of these techniques are all about the same thing. If you know who you are, if you are the light onto the world, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. And then you have to practice protection, energetic protection. You have to practice detachment. You have to practice all of the other wonderful skills that we as psychics use and teach our followers.
I always call that blocking. And I always use that because I grew up as an indigo kid and was surrounded by people that flinging arrows at me because I didn't fit in. And blocking, I found out, was the ability to say no. I won't listen. I won't allow people to bring me down. What is your strategy for protection?
I think of myself as a nice person. So even when I'm protecting, I don't want to hurt the other person. Is I imagine a outward mirror around me. So I can look through it. Other people, when they're looking at it, are seeing the reflection of themselves. That outward mirror cannot be broken, so any arrow that they sling is going to bounce back at them. And here's where I try to save them. On the outside of that, I have a waterfall. And I am imagining this waterfall having the powerful energies of cleansing. So any energy that comes my way gets cleansed when it comes in, gets cleansed when it goes out. So when it comes back to them, because everything returns to the sender, it comes back to them as something that's uplifting, enlightening, and does not harm them. That's what I do when I use protection. So anytime I'm anywhere, I use that. And then I use different lights, and you can use pinks, and you can use indigo color, you can use purples, you can use the purple flame. There's so many different things that you can use. Point is, or you can ask your angels to protect you. So whatever way works for you is going to work different for others.
You know, and I do believe that a lot of people that are empathic do tend to be lone wolves and do tend to need a lot of sabbatical time because of the fact that they do get drained very easily.
The book that's out right now is called Inspirer. All of the aspects of the spiritual world, when I'm talking to the angels, they talk about oracle, angel card reading. As well as me seeing an economics class in the middle of my, college education, thinking, wow, this professor doesn't know what he's talking about. This book is graphic in some ways in terms of its language. I think 2 or 3 poems definitely have swear words in it, so if you're offended, don't buy the book. So it has...
Now they will for sure.
It has lots of love poetry. It has me trying to find my way, trying to find true love, going through the infatuation stage. It's basically talking about the journey. So I found that everybody that reads it, you think, Alan, what are you thinking? But everybody's going to find something in it that they like.
Where can people reach you?
Call 1-800-323-1619. And for those people that like numerology, check out that number. It does have a meaning as well. Thank you very much. People can find me. I'm all over Facebook. I have 4 Facebook pages. If you look up Recalibrate Your Life, that's a page of mine. If you just look up Allen Vaysburg, ALLENVAYSBERG, I have my personal page as well as my author page. So you can find me there. You can go to allenvaysburg.com or recalibrateyourlife.com, 2 of my domains where I talk about my practice, as well as the upcoming books and about my life purpose coaching that's coming out 3rd.
Do you have a radio show right now? It seemed like I read you did.
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I'm on 1-2 Radio right now. The show is called Recalibrate Your Life with Allen Vaysburg. It's on Wednesday nights, so you and I share a night as well, from 9 to 10 p.m. Central, 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific time. Then starting August 1st, I actually am proud to announce that my show will be syndicated throughout the world by a Law of Attraction radio network. That would be the recalibrateyourlife.com.
All right. What is the one thing that you know for sure right now that you got all wrong when you first started out?
Let go, believe, and surrender to spirit. If you're doing that and you're not forcing it, then things will come and then your life will be better. And my words of wisdom for everybody is that do not do anything unless it comes from a place of love.